Today we're going to be going over the worst thing from every single Call of Duty Zombies, Treyarch only. Let's get into it. Without a doubt in my mind, the worst thing about Black Ops 1 Zombies has got to be the horrible weapon selection throughout the mystery box and wall buys. Whenever I play Black Ops 1, I'm always aiming for a select handful of weapons, that handful being 4 to 5 weapons, even including the wonder weapons as well. Just off my first rip of the mystery box, I get a crossbow on round 3. You know how much points you get per kill with this? 50. You don't get any extra points, which most of the time when you are playing this game, you're going to be getting weapons like this, and it really inhibits the players, especially on lower rounds, in order to get points that are impossible to get because of the bad weapon choice. The crazy thing is too, I really enjoy Black Ops 1 Zombies. I absolutely love it, but the weapon choice that they had was absolutely dog awful. Like, genuinely, why do half the weapons after round 30 just suck so bad? Like, genuinely, you cannot use them or you will die half the time using them. The only reliable weapons are weapons like the ray gun, the zap gun, the thunder gun, etc, etc. Plus, every weapon that you need to live past round 30 is inside the mystery box, and there are about 27 to 28 weapons in the game depending what map you're playing. So trying to get this specific one is very time consuming unless you're extremely lucky. Plus, you can get weapons like pistols on top of M1911, which really makes no sense, and you can get a ton of points with these pistols, but realistically after a specific round you're going to want damage over points, and after round 10 that's usually the case in every map. And the worst part about it is when you actually get a good weapon like the Commando or the FAMAS, usually, most of the time, these kinds of weapons run out of ammo quickly, and after 4 or 5 rounds into the higher rounds, you already need a max ammo. It's extremely inefficient and really challenges the player in order to get drops and really just be lucky when playing the video game. I don't mind that you have to pull weapons out of the box necessarily to have a good time. It adds chaoticness to the game, which really, that's what they were striving for. But the fact that I had to go spend the mystery box just to get another weapon to replace the good one I already have, just to get ammo out of all things, not even a weapon, really just grinds my gears.
Double points.
Did you hear that? That's the only good map for the first half of Black Ops 2. Transit was the release map for Black Ops 2 Zombies, and oh my god, I can't think of anything worse than this besides Vanguard Zombies. Everything about Transit was ambitious, but it was a little bit too ambitious. Everything including the bus, the fog, the denizens, the open expansive map with multiple parts so big that you could diversify them into survival maps, 2 Easter eggs, both being very lackluster, a new perk that ultimately screwed your friends if you played with them, horrible pack-a-punch system that makes me want to gouge my eyeballs out with cat nails. The list just goes on and on and on. I could sit here and joke all day, but we all know Transit's bad. But the main reason why it's bad is that it was too ambitious. See, last gen systems, PS3 and Xbox 360, could not handle or render Black Ops 2 at all whatsoever. So to shortcut this, they put fog so you couldn't see around the map the missing textures and other floating parts. And to slow down the player and the bus from seeing this, they introduced thick condensed fog which you couldn't see past 5 feet. And on top of this, just to be rude, they just added lava, which just inhibits the player and just causes them to take damage, and with a denizen they can down you both. Transit was a horrible map, yes, we know that, but Die Rise is even worse. Here's why. Every time you play this map, you're always at the risk of always falling down. The verticality on this map makes traversing it extremely difficult, especially for new players and also even some of the older players. Treyarch was really testing to break the boundaries of making a new Call of Duty Zombies map that was different, innovative, but really, this map did not do that. We get the addition of Who's Who, another after death perk, which really just inhibits the player even more than it actually helps. A new stylish wonder weapon that, if used properly, can actually be good. A worse Easter egg than Transit, which says enough of itself. And a pointless mystery box because all of the weapons, including the AN-94, SVU, and the PDW, are in every way superior. Die Rise has many flaws, and I think all of us know that. The main reason why is because of the verticality and no PhD flopper, which they intentionally teased. Unfortunately, it was never added to the actual game as a buyable perk, and perma PhD flopper wasn't even added until Buried. This map is extremely boring. It requires the player to constantly deal with jumping jacks, sprinters, tight corridors, etc, etc, that really contribute to being a really bad map. Black Ops 3 had amazing wonder weapons, amazing atmospheres, great perks, variety of gameplay, gobblegums, etc, etc, but the main problem about this game is that some of the maps are extremely complex and drive away many players. Personally, I love complex maps. I love having to actually dig deep and learn the map over the course of weeks, but I understand for some casual players that's just not their kind of tea. Great examples of this are Gorod Krovi and also Zetsubo no Shima. The others are pretty complex, but they aren't as complex as these. To simply just turn on Pack-a-Punch, you have to go around collecting 3 modules, teleport with a dragon, and then start a lockdown series, and then you could get Pack-a-Punch. To the average player who doesn't really know Gorod Krovi, this could take 10 to 12 rounds and multiple guides just to show how to get Pack-a-Punch. Like I said, I love a complex map, but when Pack-a-Punch, one of the most essential parts of the map, requires you to ride a dragon, pay to get there, and then do a lockdown, it gets a little bit irritating, especially repetitively. And if you're playing with a group of friends, it's kind of annoying if they do not know how to deal with this. If I had $1 for every time I had to lead my friends who just weren't zombies heavy like me, I would have way too much money to even count. And necessarily the maps don't have to be complex, but the setup is usually long with Black Ops 3. Just to get everything set up on Gorod Krovi takes 15 to 20 rounds. Zetsubo no Shima, you spend at least 25,000 points without gobblegums. The Rise and Dragon Revelations ain't bad, and Chaz Veevil just has kind of a tedious Pack-a-Punch system. There's genuinely not much wrong with Black Ops 3. In fact, it's my favorite, but I can point out that these problems are pretty big, and most players who dislike this game would have to say one or the other are their problems. Black Ops 4 has a similar issue that Black Ops 3 has, but it applies to the Easter eggs. Black Ops 4 has been infamously known because of how hard and complicated its Easter eggs are. Maps especially like Voyage of Despair and also Ancient Evil have long and tedious tasks that make the player go out of their way and go extremely high into the rounds. This also applies to Blood of the Dead as well, as this is the most hard Easter egg of all time and no other Easter egg will ever top it. It's extremely hardcore, and it only applied to hardcore players because, well, at the time, Treyarch really thought that, well, after Black Ops 3, the community wanted more and more hard Easter eggs. Some of them are good, I won't lie, but the unfortunate state of Black Ops 4 with the bad HUD, perk system, and also bad perks and weapons, it really inhibited players to even play the game, and most just went back and played Black Ops 3. Genuinely, I think the maps in Black Ops 4 aren't bad. I think the Chaos maps are actually really unique and fun. I really like the idea of the Titanic, ancient Greece, and also a Roman Colosseum. But with the Ether maps, they were just remasters, and most of the funds really just went to the Chaos crew. Overall, I just think Black Ops 4 just went a little too overboard, and players just didn't accept that. And Treyarch really did try to experiment with a couple things, but really didn't do it very well. Cold War Zombies is genuinely a good game, and I will stand by that and die on that hill. But one problem that is extremely rampant in this game, and it is extremely clear, is that this game has no soul. Every Zombies installment before this, every Zombies installment that we've talked about in this video has had some soul, something that made it different from every other game, something that was unique, something that brought something different to the table. Unfortunately, with Cold War Zombies, this is not the case. You were allowed to have every single perk in the game, you're allowed to get every single gun in the game, you're allowed to do everything in this game with no restrictions. The game is way too easy and it is not good. The only setback to actual progression in this is when you get to round 55 with super sprinters, but at that point you'll have a fully maxed out Gallo and a fully maxed out ray gun that will kill them extremely quickly. And if you're saying, well, that's not enough, well, you have Ring of Fire and plenty of other field upgrades. These by themselves aren't exactly amazing, but their tier upgrades is what truly makes everything in this game overpowered. I mean, you're allowed to start off the game with a fully kitted out weapon that normally you'd have to go around the map, spin the mystery box, put it in the Pack-a-Punch machine, and then get some attachments on it after a couple attempts with the Pack-a-Punch. And I'm not against attachments on guns, that's not my issue. I'm more so the guy who stands on that point of maybe you should start out with a pistol to stop game progression from going too fast. The armor system makes it too easy, the mantling and climbing system makes it far too easy, and everything about this game mode really just screams Warzone. I really like Cold War Zombies, but that is a really bad issue within this game, and honestly that's what kills it for me. Plus it also doesn't have much replayability because of these factors. Vanguard's horrible. I honestly don't even have to explain that.